Got an 01 S10 here, changing out the evaporator core. Book time is about 6.5 hours, and I was able to pull the evaporator core out and the condenser out in just 1 hour, and this is my first time. They want you to pull the hood because the hood's mounted to the fender, and then pull the fender, and you know, just all this work to get that evaporator core out of there, but it's not that hard. First thing you want to do is go ahead and remove your battery, because the battery mounting nut is holding the fender liner. So pull your nut, pull your battery, or else the battery weight's gonna be too much for this bracket. And then you're gonna pull your metal fender liner out. So to get the fender liner, you need to pull your engine coolant reservoir. So it's just held on by 3 bolts. Your ECM is on top of that, so go ahead and take the computer off, pull your reservoir off. Now your steel fender liner comes out very easily with a bunch of bolts around the sides. There's 3 right here, and then a couple, you know. So that comes out pretty easy. Of course, you got to pull tire to do that. And then you got the blower motor you're going to pull out of the housing. Now the housing's right here. So the housing, which this is what everybody wants to know about. So, you know, it's back up in there. So you're going to pull your blower motor out to make it lightweight as possible. And the, you know, before you get to this part, you're going to take off you're going to recover your refrigerant. You got your liquid line connection. You're going to take that off. Your accumulator, going to take that off. And to get these connections off, just use a air hammer with a chisel bit. If they don't come off, this one obviously I didn't have to do that too. Sometimes they'll lock up. So some heat and air chisel, and you can loosen them up if they get froze up in here. So anyways, get your accumulator off. That leaves you with the evaporator core in the housing, and so the housing is going to be, you know, sitting on there like so. You got your blower motor out, and then you're going to go around, and there's 10mm bolts here. So there's 3 there, and then there's another one here. So there's 4 10mm bolts. They're a little tricky to get to, but if you use a 6-inch extension with a 1/4-inch swivel, I was able to get them all with my Milwaukee ratchet. And then there's going to be a series of 5.5mm bolts or screws that go around the perimeter. So there's going to be a couple on the bottom. There's one here on the liquid line that attaches the evaporator core connection here, there, with a little strap. And then you got 2 screws on the front, and then a couple more on the top. But to get this out of here, all you have to do, this little sheet metal bracket for the fender liner, go ahead and bend that downwards. And by bending that downwards, now you have enough room to take the HVAC housing and come forward with it. Now you will need to take the 2 nuts off the studs here on the bottom, because you need to be able to push this housing forward. But you don't need to remove all the bolts. There is 1 bolt up there. That's all. So I got the 1 bolt and then the 2 nuts on bottom. I left the other one over there. I just wanted to be able to move it a little bit. And now the cool thing about this housing is the housing is open on the backside. See, it's got a lip here on the front that covers around the front of the evaporator core, but there's nothing on the back. So you don't really need to come out much at all to clear the evaporator core. And that's why you can just push this housing over just a little bit with the evaporator core. The evaporator core is going to stay in this housing when you remove the other housing. So you're going to take the evaporator core in this housing, push it over just a little bit, and then that will just slide forward, and then you're good to go. And the evaporator core, it's got some chicken wire on the backside for whatever reason. That's on the leaving side. But yeah, this is actually a very straightforward, simple job. One guy on YouTube said it was hard to get to these bolts for the housing over here. Just use yourself a 6-inch extension, 10mm 1/4 swivel, and I was able to just get right up back under there and zip that bolt right out. You know, they were very easy. Not very easy, but it wasn't too hard.